You know that feeling when you go to look at your bank account and your heart kind of drops? Like you're about to watch a horror movie? Well, if that's you, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to talk about how to transform that relationship with money, moving from stress and, just plain avoidance to a feeling of clarity and real control. So let's dive in. Okay, first things first, let's just be honest for a second. Which one of these sounds the most like you? Are you the avoider? The person who would literally rather do laundry than open that banking app? Or maybe you're the overthinker, just stuck, spinning your wheels in analysis paralysis. Or maybe you're C, you do it, you look at the numbers, but man, you hate every single second of it. Whichever one you picked, I promise you, you are not alone in this. And this is probably the most important thing to get right from the very beginning. If you avoid your finances, it is not a personal failing. It's not a flaw in your character. The research is actually super clear on this. It's a deeply ingrained brain response to stress. It's just science. So let's get into the why behind this. Why does something that's really just numbers on a screen cause so much anxiety for so many of us? Well, it often comes down to this thing called the avoidance cycle. It works like this. It starts with a negative feeling about money, right? That feeling leads to overwhelm, which then makes you put off looking at the problem. But of course, ignoring it only makes that fear and stress grow stronger, which just reinforces those negative feelings to begin with. And so the cycle just keeps going, round and round. And this isn't just a theory, The science here is pretty fascinating. Neuroimaging studies have actually shown that a scarcity mindset, that feeling of not enough, it literally changes the decision-making pathways in your brain. It creates this kind of tunnel vision that makes you want to look away from the very thing you need to be looking at. So how do you break the cycle? It all comes down to this one single powerful mindset shift. We tend to see our financial numbers as a judgment, right? A reflection of our worth, maybe a source of shame. But what if they weren't? What if they were just information, neutral data, a tool to help you grow? Honestly, this shift from seeing judgment to seeing information, that's the key to everything else we're going to talk about. Okay, so with that new mindset in place, let's look at the very first practical step you can take, like right now, to break that cycle for good. We are going to fight that feeling of overwhelm with some radical simplicity. So I want you to forget the giant spreadsheets, all the different categories, the complicated software. Forget it all. We're going to focus on just 3 numbers. That's it, just 3. And the process could not be simpler. Step 1, just figure out your total income from the last 30 days. Step 2, what were your total expenses in that same time? And step 3, what's the difference between them? That's your profit or your loss. Look, this isn't about perfect accounting. It's about getting a quick, clear win that starts to turn that fear into curiosity. All right, now we're going to take those 3 numbers and plug them into a simple tool that's going to give you lasting clarity without all the complexity. I mean it, seriously. The reason most financial plans fail is because they're just too complicated to keep up with. The goal here is not to become a perfect bookkeeper. The goal is consistency, and the absolute key to consistency is simplicity. We're talking about a 1-page snapshot you could literally create with a pen and a piece of paper. So your snapshot has just 4 essential parts: your income, your outgoings or expenses, and that profit or loss figure we just found. And then we just add one more: cash on hand. That's it. That gives you a complete high-level view of your financial health, all on a single page. Now, to make this snapshot so simple you can understand it in a second, we're going to use a simple color code. If a number looks good, feels healthy, your profit's in the positive, you've got a good amount of cash, you color it green. Simple. If a number is in a total crisis, but it needs your attention, maybe expenses are creeping up a little bit or cash is tighter than you'd like, you color it orange. Think of this as your early warning system. And finally, red is for anything that's urgent. Maybe you had a loss this month, or your cash on hand is critically low. Now, red doesn't mean panic. It just means prioritize. It tells you exactly where you need to focus your energy first. Okay, so you have this simple snapshot, but how do we turn it into a sustainable habit? Let's talk about building a routine that creates real, lasting confidence. I want you to meet your new favorite ritual, the weekly money date. This is a non-negotiable 20-minute appointment you schedule in your calendar. It's a protected little bubble of time for you to update your snapshot and review your numbers in a calm, curious, and totally non-judgmental way. And this idea comes straight from the science of how we form habits. A small, repeated action is infinitely more powerful than some huge, heroic effort you only do once a year. Showing up for just 20 minutes every single week will change your financial life way more than a 10-hour spreadsheet marathon every January. And your agenda for this money date is so simple. First, you update your key numbers. Second, you look for just one hidden opportunity. Is there one tiny cost you could cut or a price you could tweak? And third, you choose one small action to take this week based on what you found. That's it. It's manageable, it's productive, and it's actually really empowering. So, let's tie this all together. Let's look at how these small, consistent steps create a massive shift, not just in your bank account, but in your whole identity. This right here, this is the path we've just mapped out. You start at fear, but by focusing on just 3 simple numbers, you shift into curiosity. That curiosity, when you use your one-page snapshot, creates clarity. Practicing that clarity every week builds genuine confidence. And that confidence, well, that ultimately leads to empowerment. That feeling that you are finally in the driver's seat of your own financial life. So I'll leave you with this question to just kind of chew on. This whole thing, it's not just about managing a budget. It's about changing your relationship with what's possible. When you're no longer afraid of your own numbers, how does that shift the decisions you make, the risks you're willing to take, and ultimately, the person you become?